I've been asked to name one exercise that I think is the most essential exercise for healthy and active and functional aging. I picked the deadlift and I would pick it for any age. It is a full body exercise, emphasizes the back of our body, something we don't emphasize enough, and it's a complex movement, so you get a lot out of it. Here's the hard part, because it is a complex movement, you can't just throw yourself into deadlifting. You have to start with the components. So here's how I start a private client when I'm doing a one-on-one session. We start with the hip hinge. We start by defining a hip hinge, which means that you're basically creasing right there at that pants crease. Your spine and your pelvis take one ride over your legs. I have soft knees, parallel legs. How do I know that I'm actually keeping my pelvis and my spine in one relationship? And that is with a dowel. I love using a dowel. You could even use a foam roller. It's just harder to hold on to. What I like to do is hold that dowel with just one hand so that you can see it, but you could also have another hand right here. What I like to talk about is that we want the back of your pelvis, your sacrum, that sticking out bone on your pelvis, you can usually feel it. We want that on the dowel. We want your ribs on the dowel, and we want your head on the dowel. If you happen to have a forward head, maybe rounded shoulder posture, a really great thing that you can do is just stick a little washcloth back there and tie it on, so that then you've created that same feeling of relationship. So imagine my hand right here is that towel. Now I'm still touching my 3 points of contact. So that's the essential part. 3 points of contact, and I'm going to soften my knees, and I'm going to ride my pelvis and my spine forward and come back up. A couple of key elements here. I'm only going to go as far as I can go, keeping all 3 points of contact on the dowel. I'm exhaling. I need some core control here. I'm going to come to a place, usually what stops you is your hamstrings, so the back of my leg. Now I'm going to exhale to come up, using a lot of core control to come up. And it's essential that I keep all 3 points of contact on the dowel for down and up. The common things that happen is somebody might be going over and overarching, and you'll get that, your ribs come off. Another thing that might happen is your head starts going forward, so then your head comes off. And another potential problem is you tuck your tail and your bum comes off. So again, we're looking and working on that hip hinge. And I can work with a client for quite a while to get that hip hinge, and it will be a workout if you haven't done it before. Another place where we sometimes have a client practice it, maybe at home if they don't have a dowel at home, is that they're going to stand with their bum against the wall, their feet a little bit away from the wall, and you're going to see if you can feel your pants riding up the wall. And then exhale, blow 100 birthday candles out as you come back up and feel your pants moving on the wall again. Sometimes it's harder coming up. So you exhale to go over, soft knees, and then another exhale to come back up. That idea of a marble traveling up from your pubic bone up and behind your belly button is a really good way to engage your core musculature to support you as you make that move. Coming back up really requires a lot of core support. Then we progress it. And the way we might progress it, we might have our stick, and we're just going to practice holding on to the stick and hinging over, activating our upper back, pulling the bar closer to our body, and coming back up. So feeling the lengthening of the muscles on the back of your leg. Exhale, activate those armpits, activate your lats, exhale and come back up in one piece. So you might even put a little hand weight or 2 ankle weights on your bar to give it a little more heft, a little weight. When you're ready, I'm going to grab a barbell. When you're ready, rather than doing the deadlift from the floor, I suggest you take a weight as small as you want that you're going to hold in your hand, and we're going to start from here. So we're not deadlifting yet. We are exhaling, feeling the length in our body. So we're getting an eccentric load on our hamstrings. Fabulous strengthening and lengthening move. I'm going to activate my upper back and my armpits, and then exhale and come up. Wonderful, wonderful exercise here. When you can do 8 of these and stay in a really good relationship, spine and pelvis, one plane, then you're ready to move on. And when you're ready to move on, there's some really simple things we can do before you get to your actual kettlebell. You might take a box. A lot of people have the boxes, the little crates that milk used to come in. Those kind of crates a lot of people use as organizational tools around their house. So let's say you have one of those. This is a really functional move. This is something you have to do in your house. I'm not going to be able to get my legs wide enough to be standing right over it, but I want the box to be as close to me as possible. I'm going to have soft knees. I'm going to bend over, grab that box. A lot of times you'll have handles that you can grab, which is really nice. Come up, keeping this box really close to your body. So again, you're practicing the deadlift. You're getting much closer to a deadlift now. And this is so functional because there are times when you have to actually go all the way to the ground. We don't want to tuck our tail. If you can't get here in a neutral spine, and you can check that out with your dowel, then don't pick it up from the floor yet. So can I get all the way down? Oh, just barely. Yes, I can. So maybe I'm ready to start lifting from the bottom like that. But notice that it takes a lot of preparation to be able to get the strength and length, to be able to do that, to come down, pick up your box, and come back up. But think about how often we need to do that. Another step in the process is beginning to address an actual weight. So I am going to move my weight backwards a little bit so I'm a little bit more on camera. Notice that I am really respecting that weight, paying a lot of attention to my form. I'm not just casually grabbing it and doing something with it. So I'm going to stand with the kettlebell in between my legs. I'm going to hinge over to grab that kettlebell. Then I want to pretend almost like I want to break the kettlebell arms. And in that same way, I'm activating my upper back, my armpits of power, as I like to call them, getting my lats involved too. And then I'm feeling the back of my leg, and I'm going to do that hip hinge. Actually, the unhinge. And then hinging over, feeling the length. My hamstrings are lengthening. Great eccentric load. And then coming back up. But we don't get to this complex movement without having spent a lot of time on working on the mechanics of the hip hinge and the mechanics of engaging your whole upper back. That's that part that involves a little external rotation up at the armpit. Ask me questions, send me notes, email me. I'm here to answer your questions.